first item on the agenda is 619 West Shoots. And if this sounds familiar to everyone, we've already heard this for the same issue, but it's changing hands. So they have to ask for their own approval. So I will turn it over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Justin Smith. I'm a Lebanon resident here. My wife and I, Gretchen Smith, want to purchase 619 West Shoots. It's been operated as an Airbnb, a short-term rental by Elizabeth and Doug Rising here. We have Elizabeth joining us today too, if there's any other further questions. Our plan is to continue operating it as a short-term rental through Airbnb, through Vrbo. We see it as a asset for the community, bringing in, parents of McKendree students or a lot of the user base who've been there previously, a lot of, really people who want to come into the community, have relatives here. There's no hotel, there's not very many other short-term rentals here and other options. So it forces people to go to neighboring towns, O'Fallon, and instead we want to give them that option to stay here. In terms of the property, since we're going to be maintaining it for every single guest that comes in, we're taking extremely good, well care of it, trimming the lawns, making sure everything's up to date, cleaning it. And of course, it also benefits the city in terms of tax income as well. So that is very short, concise, really what we're looking to do. I guess this is my first time, so I don't know what to expect, or if there's questions or how to go about it.
So I don't know, we had a special use permit granted, and it had all the parking restrictions and all the other restrictions. There were, to my knowledge, no issues with what was there before. And I'm not trying to rush this along, but it is a pretty straightforward if we stick with the same stipulations that were in the other one.
This is just changing hands, correct?
Yeah, just change it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm not going to make a motion, but
I can.
Mike can.
I second. So moved.
Okay. All right. If there is no discussion, anybody from the audience have any comments? If not, call for approval, to recommend approval. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hey,
All right, thank you.
somebody already rode that, or hoed that row for you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I've got Elizabeth here to thank for that. Thank you very much.
all right. Okay, the second item is 218 North Herman. And we heard this one last meeting. This is just and I'll let Amy kind of talk, but I think all she's looking for, she's wanting to try to market the property, and potential buyers, they want to make sure that it's got, whoever buys the property again would have to come back for the same request. But just from a standpoint of listing it, it helps that process. The thing that it didn't have in there was horses.
And farming.
And well, but it's a special use for agriculture, which includes farming. So but we'll clarify that, but
My
yeah.
computer did not say farming, and being a realtor, I need it to say.
And that's fine.
What happened with the last one is Luann just thought that I was renewing the one I had, and it wasn't. And she looked at the paper, it said farming and livestock. So, and everybody approved of that, but it didn't have those specific words in it. So that's why we're back here. So that's,
So it would just be a recommendation to amend what was
just an
issued
amendment to the
before.
one-
She was not available at the meeting, so we didn't have all that information.
This is semantic then?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's-
yeah, because in truly the special use permit for agriculture includes farming, but it wasn't specific, so the request. So that's really what this is about. Whoever bought it would have to come back and ask for the
yes,
same
and
thing. So.
that will be, they know that, so, and
What about animals?
Part.
Part of that? Animals part of that or what?
Yeah, there was, I think it named everything but horses and cows.
goats. It
Yeah.
didn't have horses and it didn't
Now,
have
I think we
farming.
had a number on it, like, I don't know, was it 18 or something? I mean, we could
Yeah,
put a
that
restriction
number
on
is
horses.
fine. I'm not really looking for the number, so
It's, I think we would spend a lot more time on this if somebody bought it.
Yeah.
Wanted to do that, but again, George Baum operated Hick House,
Yeah.
farming is all it'll ever be used for, that back property.
And yeah.
This is only North Car, correct?
Yeah.
Going down forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anybody from the audience that has any comments, negative or positive? I need to make sure I ask that. Ron?
Yeah, Ron Training, I have property, just up the street from that. My first question is, why we're here, because this is gonna have to be done over again.
Right.
So new points, in my opinion, it's always done every time. The other issue I've got is, it's a lot there that I bought a couple of years ago, the city tore down the house. I bought the property, one of the reasons I bought it, long-term investment, at some point in time. Somebody's probably gonna want to build a house on there. I don't know. That probably having the animal across the street is gonna help me. It's not gonna, I don't see anybody can help me. All I can see is it would be a derogatory thing. I used to live next to Terry Pound, okay, because I was a kid. I lived there. I know all about that. That's another time, another world, okay? Whole different time frame. Several other hearings before that, didn't like the idea then, don't like it then. We moved from going off the country into town to get away from that. Got tired of the animals. Got tired of smelling. That's where I'm at.
Is that subdivision zoned as residential or commercial?
Yeah, well, it is contiguous with the city. It's zone residential, but really, the farm part of it can't really be used. It's floodland, so you really can't build on it anyway. And so agriculture is a permitted or a special use in the residential district. Now, we're not gonna approve something in the middle of town, okay? It is.
Well, I mean, well, according to what the letters read, you know, my property is like 250 feet from
Right.
where they're wanting to buy this house, I guess.
Well, if she owns it, she owns it, yeah. Yeah.
And the animals, to your, you know, the neighbor, the farmer that's next to us, that's actually agricultural, he has animals. So he's close to your property as well, because the animals that I have are 12 acres away from any houses. That the people that live next door to, there's farming that's right next door. And they can
Are you in the north?
They
Sorry,
can't.
what?
Are you in the north of Century?
No. It's on the northeast quadrant of town.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah. Yeah, two different things.
And you're the farmer that's right there have animals. But he could. So, and he's eligible too.
Is there any other discussion?
There's a lady out there.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Janet Channel. I own the second block of East Wesley. So I can see this property from my house, okay? When George Vaughn was still alive, he had some fighting bulls. And they broke the fence on the north end of this 32 acres. And the bulls were coming over to my front yard. And the cop finally told George he had to either get rid of the bulls or fix his fence, and he did not fix it. Then I came up here when these other buyers bought the property. They were told that they would have to put a new fence clear around the 32 acres to keep the animals there. And I don't know if that's taken place.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I was the buyer. We bought the land and built a home there, and we were never told we had to build a fence on it.
18, so you almost gotta be. Never did. I was there.
Yeah.
That was part of the deal.
That was part of the deal, yes, Ron, it was. Exactly.
If there's animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna put it around a farm.
And we had a fence around the house. We were in a fence, and I don't really think anybody with house horses that runs the land.
Well, we can make sure that's a restriction. I mean, I think that was the case, but we'll make sure it's in there. That any animals have to be fenced.
Yeah, 3 different times I had to call the police down there because of that.
Of George, yeah, yes. Grew up down that way, I know. All right, is there any other discussion? Not, I'll call for a motion. Recommend approval or disapproval?
I recommend approval.
I would second that, but I think we should note the restriction that
Yes.
the animals need to be contained within a fence.
Yes. Okay.
Condition.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, what kind
It can't be an electrified fence.
Oh.
Because that's not allowed in the city. Suitable fence for.
A suitable fence for containing the animals, right? That's the intent, I believe.
Yep.
Is that the intent? That's not in writing
Yes.
anywhere? Is there anything in writing?
We're not aware of anything.
Okay, so it's, at this point, this is establishing a requirement.
Right.
I recommend.
Okay, which the.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so we'll go to the council next week.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, so we'll start here in a second, the hearing on 10/9/29 Sylvan Way, or Sylvan Vista, I'm sorry.
What's the address again?
10, it says 10/9.
10929.
Yeah, 10929, 10/9/29.
There's an empty house at 10920 too, is it there?
That I don't know.
No. Yes, it was there.
Somebody lives within them?
So the special use permit request is made by Envision Limited for a small community residence, which is a listed special use in a residential district. So I don't think we received a lot of information, so is anyone here representing Envision? I think we'll start there. Again, if you came in and you haven't signed the list, we're supposed to keep a log of everybody here. All you gotta do is fill it out, and then if you do speak, we can refer to that, but it is being recorded. And there'll be time for everyone who wants to make comments. Hopefully that doesn't go too long, but we'll give it the just due, so whoever.
Is the owner of the property here?
Yes.
If you're on the title?
Yes.
Okay.
So I will kick it off with you, and then I'm sure there'll be some questions. Yep, go ahead.
Stand here?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name's Mark McHugh. I serve as the president and CEO of Envision Unlimited. Envision Unlimited is a nonprofit organization in Illinois. And we serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And the petition that we have is to use the property for which we are under contract with the owners to purchase. To support 4 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities to live there. It would be their home, it's going to be their home to live in. Our job as a service provider is to provide direct service professionals to work with them so that they're able to successfully live in their community. And what that means is that they become a full and active member of the community. Yes, that's the place they live, but many of the people who we support work. They volunteer in the community, to go on excursions. You know, there's a playhouse here. People we support love that. Plenty of things, whatever there is to do in the community, including events, we support them in doing, really all based on their interests. We have between 350 and 400 individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities. I'll use IDD going forward for that. In nearly 100 homes in 23 counties in Illinois. We've been doing this work for 75 years. We're a well-respected nonprofit organization, with the state of, that is by the state of Illinois. We are trying to meet the need of the thousands upon thousands of people with IDD who do not have the opportunity to live in a community. I'm well aware, coming into this meeting, that there were concerns by the public of a home somewhere else. That's not us. We're duly licensed and in fact have a national accreditation that well surpasses minimum standards. So I'm going to try to, help allay some fears, say as long as need be to answer questions from anyone. And try to give you an understanding that our organization is high quality and would like to be a member of this community. And we, as we looked around in this general area, St. Clair County, Lebanon, did stick out as a place with amenities where people would want to live. It's a safe community with a low crime rate. And housing was affordable, and plenty of things to do. And seemed like a welcoming community. So here we are, trying to meet a piece of this need. What we do is we have employees, direct service professionals who we train and get certified to work with the people who will be living. Whenever they're at home, meaning the members who we support, our staff will be there with them. The vehicles will have a vehicle, be able to take folks wherever they need to go, because of course they don't drive. And help them to really live the lives that they want, just really the same as you and I. That's what we're trying to give them, is a self-directed life, where they get to pick what they want to do and live where they want to live. Our staff have significant background checks. The members who live there will all be screened, so we'll know what their backgrounds are, and we help people to live together who will be a good match. They are able to make choices about who they live with and who they don't live with. And so that's a whole collaborative process to make that happen. But in addition to the direct service people there, there'll be a house manager who's a supervisor. There'll be an administrator also in the area, if not at this home, at one of our, at another home. That's the kind of the next level of oversight, plus other management staff who will always keep an eye on what's going on. And you can imagine that it's really important to do that. And so.
So it's a business then, right?
No, actually, it's a nonprofit organization. There's no.
Well, why are
profit.
you trying to come into a residential neighborhood?
Because it's a home. People live in homes. And people with IDD
Why can't you
want to
make one big?
live in home. They have the right to do that. And our job is to help them do that. So I just want to make sure that I understand that piece of it. And I get, I read the Facebook posts. I get why folks would be concerned about that. They should be taken into account. That's not us. There are many other nonprofit organizations that do this work in St. Clair County. And probably never hear of them because things like what happened, here don't happen. It is really an anomaly. And if you have an organization that is committed to quality like we are, and of the others that are doing work here, people go about their lives. And they do the things that they want to do, they get a job, and they just live their lives. It's really no more complicated than that. So I think it would probably be a good time to take questions from the commission.
Well, I think I'd like to go first. My name is Laura.
Hang on, anybody,
Sure.
I'm sure we'll have some questions that may help others.
And so if you have a home there and you say you've got
and administrator that stays there.
Supervisor and direct service people over there.
How many direct service people are involved?
So that all depends on what the needs are of the individuals who will live there. There's a process, an assessment by which that gets determined. You know, there's, it could be 2, 3, 4 individuals. Or staff members.
Well,
And there'd be 4 individuals in the home.
Zoning will get to say how many people are in that house, though. Ultimately, they have to follow your guys' stipulation on occupancy per the inspector's guideline.
Now, understand, that's not plan commission issue,
No,
that's,
100%.
but there are other
Right,
ordinances that
I
have
just
to be.
wanted to kind
complied
of point
with. Yeah.
that out, that they will abide by whatever regulations is
Well,
set.
my question, going back to that is, concerning ingress, egress, parking, because they, oh, shut up.
Not me.
Ingress and egress, because the road that goes up there, isn't all that necessarily wide, 50 people park on the street on one side and on the other side, whether or not emergency vehicles have got enough space to get through. Because it goes all the way back out of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, we don't anticipate having,
Excuse me, can you let him talk, please, so I can hear?
we don't anticipate any street parking, if there's 2-car garage and then a driveway as well.
Okay.
And so in terms of the, if you meant the home itself, that gets licensed by the state of Illinois after a really robust set of inspections.
Window.
I don't wanna sound like sour grapes, but we have a home here. Already, and it's amazing, I've been here for 400 years. The only time you see the kids are when they're walking in a group to the Shell station. Maybe they're taking them for a walk. People come in with all these recommendations, and I've never seen them have a job in the community. I've never seen them partake of any activity in the community, in the school district or anything. So what I'm saying is this gonna be a continuation of what we've already witnessed?
Let me give you some examples about,
I'm sorry.
let me give you some examples about what we've done around that already. As our track record around that. So we have people who work at grocery store, who
But they've been
volunteer.
here over 10 years, and they still don't have a job.
Those are
It's
different
company, not us, not us.
I know, it's the same concept.
It is, but you know, we actually have a contract with the state to help get people jobs.
I'm just telling.
And we have,
But it sounds like the same, old, same. old to me.
I'm just telling you what we've already accomplished.
I'm sorry, that's just my opinion.
No, I'm telling you what we've already accomplished, which is we get people jobs, dozens of jobs every year for.
I think
people
that's
with
important.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Development of a person, the self-esteem, there's a whole lot of reasons.
Yeah. And it goes beyond that really, because people like to volunteer. So we have an individual, for example, who volunteers at the local library, reading to kids during story time.
Well, I haven't witnessed anybody stepping up and doing anything.
It's because we're not here yet.
That's what we want to
Okay,
have here.
why are you different than what we have?
Well, I'm trying to kind of give you some examples around that so that. you can-
I'm listening.
Okay,
First off, they're a non-for-profit, so they have different standards they have to meet than the current organization that is here.
I have no familiarity with the other
Just that.
organization.
There ain't no guarantee.
There is no different standards.
It's, so, anyway. We have people who have learned how to do culinary work, have the food service sanitation certificate and get jobs that way. We have a robust biking program, which is great for health.
Horticulture program, arts program. There's so many activities that individuals are involved in.
What are the ages of these people?
These are adults. All adults.
So
You don't know who's gonna be
above
in this
18
home
then, right?
Right?
Sorry, I didn't hear
You
you.
have no idea who's gonna be in this home yet.
We have not selected the individual.
So, I mean,
People.
We can listen to stories that good, we have stories of what we've told. Now, Helen, we don't know anything.
Can we talk about just logistics? So there's 4 bedrooms in.
Yes.
And is there 24-hour care? Is there someone there at all times?
There's someone there whenever one of the individuals is there. So we might go out, then everybody goes out. But whenever somebody's there, it's 24/7.
So where does that person stay?
They don't live there, they're shift staff.
Yes.
You like-
So you asked
Well,
about,
for aid.
you asked about the logistics. So one shift would be an overnight, another shift would be,
It depends on what the needs
Morning,
are.
morning, early afternoon, and the other shift would be.
We have floaters.
My name is Laura Goss. I'm the neighbor right next door to this proposed property. I just happen to be a retired hospital social worker, so I know exactly where you get your referrals, and I know exactly the types of patients that you admit. And I also know after 47 years of experience in healthcare, you're there to provide heads and beds. All this glorification of arts and craft and music and blah, blah, blah is pretty superficial. I understand this healthcare industry like the back of my hand, sir. So I know exactly what you're doing. I already heard your plans to like fill in the swimming pool. I mean, you know, you've got a nice little country club in the backyard, and what's he gonna do? You know, I'm sure it's a liability for you, so you wouldn't dare want to let people enjoy swimming and learn how to do it in the backyard. You're gonna dirt it down. I understand the entire thing.
So most of that is untrue because what I discussed in terms of the activity and what we discussed in terms of the activities actually happen. They're on our website. Anybody can do it. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Once you're.
I'm sorry, I don't mean. to-
No, we're,
I'm sorry, just the commissioner.
I do have one question if I may. Mike, I always ask the same questions. What's the tax basis that you'll provide to the community and to the school?
Yeah, there'll be at least a $1 million economic impact coming from the amount that we pay staff to work there. So there'll be that money. And I just kind of looked up what what that kind of payroll creates an economic impact, and that's where I got that. So,
I mean, actual dollars that go right to the school. Because I live in the community, as many other people do. I do not have children that go to the school. I do not.
These aren't children, these are all adults.
Or adults. I'm an owner and I support my taxes to go to the community. It's just the way things are. I do have a discount that a senator gave me, but it's not a full, it's a partial. But what I'm saying is direct impact to the schools and to the fire and to other support agencies that need funds to operate. So that's what I'm speaking of. When we take money from those, in other words, we wipe out another tax basis, what you're doing is levying a tax on everybody else.
Yes.
It will be made, or we will make cuts. So I drove through the community, I'm familiar. I know that it was zoned and designed for single family houses. I know this. I am not speaking to anything prior, because I have no knowledge of it. I'm only speaking factually of the property itself. It provides a tax base to the community. Will in fact, the tax basis to the community be lower? Because this, will it be on the taxes or off? I mean, I'm a layman.
Yeah,
So,
at some point, we will probably do a tax appeal.
so, right, so zero is what I'm assuming.
And the other side of
That's
that,
the state's issue, not mine, okay? I just need to know factually,
yeah,
will it actually support financially that property, the community, or will it? I'm not talking about the individuals or the program. I love the program. I'm talking about the property.
Decreasing everybody else's property, that's a
So
right.
and that's specifically.
yeah, well, if we will probably do a tax appeal as a nonprofit organization.
And who is the owner of the property? Who, as a community, who do we go to?
Our organization.
The board or?
No, I represent the organization as.
You're out of Chicago, right?
So that's that. And, you know, the other side of that coin is, you know, that people who work there will be spending money.
I understood. I'll weigh the merit, but that one specific question, I needed it for the record.
Understood.
There anything else up here? We can come back to the plan commission, but
What's your staff to resident ratio intended to be in that property?
It depends on who it is that comes in and what their support needs are. So we'll assess that. Could be 1-to-1, could be something less than.
And if it's 1-to-1, that usually means they're a flight risk and usually schizophrenic, schizoaffective.
Not necessarily.
Are these purely individuals with intellectual disabilities? Are these people that have varying degrees of mental illness that are not considered intellectual disabilities, or is it just developmental disabilities with which you're working?
These are gonna, our target is, and the only folks who are gonna be having it are people with IDD.
Okay.
And there'll be, and I can say that because these are people who are signed up in the IDD system.
Do they also, pardon me, do they also have, some of them may have some physical disabilities as well?
That's possible. We're gonna do some improvements inside to help increase
Everything on the
accessibility.
residents is gonna be purely speculation at this point.
Yeah, but I know that, but I mean, as a general, as a healthcare practitioner
We
myself.
can talk about everything and it doesn't matter because there's nothing documented.
We know they're just individuals with IDD, though. There's a significant difference between individuals that have IDD or are registered with that and
Correct.
people who have like profound mental
That's
illness. There's a
correct.
vast difference between those two,
Yeah.
things.
Is
So
it
these,
possible that both of those categories could live here, or is it just one category?
No, we're not
IDD.
providing mental health services. We do mental health services. We're not providing, it's only so.
They have to be
people in the-
funded through
in the IDD
the
system.
state of Illinois Department of Developmental Disabilities.
So are they all on social security disability?
yes.
Are there any on Medicaid?
All of Medicaid.
Okay, and what about the vote that just happened today with a huge number of Americans getting to be taken off the Medicaid system? What are you gonna do then when you can't afford the staff?
I feel sorry for the folks who are gonna lose their health care. I am, but there is not, for all the stuff that I've read, not going to be reductions in this particular funding. In fact, little known fact, is that home and community-based services, which is what funds group homes like this, got a small increase in that budget.
Well, maybe it's in the state of Illinois.
No,
No, it's a
budget.
federal. The home and community-based labor is what it's funded by, and the Medicaid labor.
all right, so, did you sign in? Okay, just, we'll go one at a time. We'll start right, go left. Yeah. Him.
Ladies first, I'll be on.
All right, okay, fair enough.
In the minority, I'm in support of this. I,
Can you state your name? Okay.
a nonprofit and a profit, group homes. I know all about them. There's a huge difference. I work for East of Hills Midwest. If you watch TV, you've seen them, on TV. I've done community living. I've been one-on-one or two-on-one staff. I've had my nose broken. I've, from a different individual, just one. But my last home I worked in with was two little old ladies. One went to a day program and the other one went to a workshop and worked. They would not hurt a fly, but they were one-on-one. They were awesome. I'm glad to hear you're not the other company, because that is troubling. What would you do if the individuals per se had violent behavior was breaking out? What would you do? And then I have another comment about staff. Staff makes a difference. Staff is the one that takes them out to the community. Staff is the one that does stuff. If you do not have good staff, the individuals are just gonna sit at home and be bored. So, I mean, a lot of the other problems are being staff. So that's.
So we have, on staff, we have board certified behavior analysts who work really closely with the individuals and with the treatment team to make sure that any behaviors are addressed through a really comprehensive behavior plan. Then the staff are trained regularly, not just once, but over and over again on that behavior plan to make sure that we're following it. And a lot of the type of behavior to talk about is really because of, you know, interactions that, you know, and people, these are adults who live in their own home. They just want to be treated like adults and they just want to have a home in the community like everyone else. For example, we just opened a home in Homewood, Illinois. 4 gentlemen moved out of a state institution into this home, and we did assessments beforehand on their life goals and what they wanted. Simple things that they want. I mean, it makes me ashamed with all that I have to hear what they want. So one of them just wanted to have a barbecue. We've never had a barbecue. His birthday, they moved in 2 months ago. His birthday was 2 weeks ago, and he had a barbecue. He invited his neighbors to the barbecue. These are the types of people that we are opening these homes for.
So again, how would you, if, per se, one of these people escalated, had a mental break, how would your company handle it? Because I think that's what's.
Yeah, and everyone is trained in something called safety care. It's a 2-day training on crisis intervention. Some of the time is spent learning how to de-escalate a situation, and then some of the time is spent learning hands-on techniques, which almost never gets used.
What system do you use?
Safety care. It's
not MANT or CPI.
No, but it's similar, and it's an accredited license program. That we have on staff that teach on staff safety care, and then they go through a refresher. We have to do mental and care training, so we teach staff how to interact appropriately with individuals so that, you know, you don't end up with situation.
As you speak, if you could step at least a little forward, she said that recording's having trouble picking it up, so.
Good evening, I'm Jonathan Sabota from Sylvan Vista, 10908 Sylvan Vista. And yes, I know we're not supposed to compare to the other business. I refer to it as a business. I realize it's a group home. Let me just call it a group home. I have 2 points. One is that is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, there is an Illinois statute that group homes are not to be closer than 1,000 feet. I could be wrong, but that's what I have learned. And if so, that is this proposal within 1,000 feet as the crow flies. That's how people walk through people's neighborhoods, not through the streets. And also, I would also, since I have a very limited time and there's many people that want to talk, I am not going to be the person that I said I have looked, but I have heard rumors that perhaps there are some reports on your nonprofit that aren't so glowing and management. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
So there used to be a rule, that.
They cannot hear you, the recording, please.
There used to be a rule, a distance rule between Scillas, and that was changed. The law has been changed. And so now the rule is that a Scilla can, as long as it is not next to, across from, or kitty corner from another Scilla, it is allowed.
Question. Have your organization ever considered being owners instead of renters
We will own the home.
and building a new facility?
We will own the home. We are going to own the home. We have a contract on to purchase the home.
Do you have any ownership out in other communities or in the different cities?
Oh, yes, we're in 24 counties in Illinois.
You own buildings in 24
Yes.
counties?
Yes, we have almost 100 homes that we own. Yeah. This gentleman's good.
I had one question earlier.
Dave?
Dave Renfro. He said he had to be an adult, well, an adult considered 18. If you put someone in your home that's under 21, you can take funds from our school district to help educate them. And I want to make sure that is, if it does go forward, that is a stipulation that the people will have to be over 21, so they will not become a burden on the tax school district we have now, especially since the school district may eventually lose the funding that your tax
Okay,
tax appeal will take away from the school.
understood. So yes, actually, people with IDD stay in the education system through up to age 22. Frankly, it's funded better, they get better services. It's the way it is. And so everybody that will get it, 22 and older.
Walking into home. Mr. Chairman, may I speak now or do you want me?
No, I'll start the clock.
Start the clock, sorry. Okay. To the planning commission members, you should have all gotten one of these packets that I'm handing around. Let me just read this. I moved into this subdivision because it was zoned SR1 and had covenants and restrictions to protect my property values and my quality of life, which now seem to hang in the balance if we allow clusters of group homes to exist here. I believe all people, and we say that again, all people are entitled to a quality of life, but the examples below show a complete disregard for others' safeties and quality of life. One, it is not right for anyone to walk into a garage of someone they do not know, come up behind them and put their arms around them. That would scare me, and I don't scare easy. Two, it's not all right for anyone to break into a home, traumatizing a child and the parents. It is not all right for anyone to get violent with a neighbor. It is not all right for anyone to break a window in someone's home. The above things happened from residents of the group home, according to the Lebanon Police Report from 9/24/2018 through 5/13/2025. The Lebanon Police log relating to the 10905 Fallowfield Drive, currently owned by Hill Oxford 3 LLC out of Chicago, according to the 2024 tax record. For the safety of the community and the safety of the residents of the group home, what actions were taken? I have heard that troubled residents are just moved around. Pictures show that the workers park across sidewalks, making it impossible for people to stay walking on the sidewalks. Covenants require off-street parking. See how far the current group home of the residents traveled to harass neighbors, break into houses, and now they're asking to be next door to the addresses that were harassed in one way or another. It has also come to my attention that the Illinois Attorney General is investigating the current home at 10905 Fallowfield in regards to the woman who wanders all over causing trouble. She has generated 49 911 calls in 1 month. Clearly, that impacts the safety of all the citizens of Lebanon. FYI, that woman previously lived in the Breeze home and they could not handle her, so they moved her to Lebanon. Turning to Envision Unlimited, the company proposing the new group home, they have had substantiated claims against them. See attached, it could show you what about the calls and the claims there. And there's also a link to investigate into negligence of a resident of an Envision Unlimited facility that took quite some time to resolve. And that link is on that paper for you guys to look at too. And it's just, I know he's saying that we shouldn't compare the existing one to his home. That new home, they're saying 4 residents. Are you gonna stay at 4? Or are you gonna
Yes.
go to 6? You're gonna go to 8 or?
Four, we only open 4% or less.
So
I couldn't hear what that was what.
the lady that, the woman that had the 49 911 calls. What is your solution to that? Is she gonna get moved to another home in another city? Or will she be?
Not a client.
It's not,
No, I'm saying if one of your clients or one of your people in your group home became that woman, how are you going to handle that to put me that lives 3 doors down, when my great grandkids are at my house, I'm gonna be worried about something like that happening. I'm gonna be worried now because of the existing home. What does Envision Unlimited do if someone like that comes? Are you gonna counsel that person or decide that that person is not a good fit? Will that person be sent back to some sort of, I don't know, some sort of a different home or nursing home or assisted living or something so that they're, you know, I don't know, if I put an ankle bracelet on so they don't escape out of me. I don't know, but this is the things that the people in the community are worried about, that you're telling me that you're gonna find good people. Anybody can crack. So if my neighbor did the same thing and he wasn't in that house, they can be charged, but the police officer, from what we were told, is that the people from those homes, if they come and break my windows out, I have no recourse. I cannot charge that person because they don't know what they're doing. So would your company then be liable to fix my windows and repaint my house or fix whatever damage there was?
And clean up poop that they left in the yard.
Someone, let me take a stab at something like this, right, in a second. So obviously I don't know anything about this one, but I'll say a few words about how we deal with folks who become in crisis.
Could you speak?
There is a crisis system in Illinois that we can use. There are specialized services from another organization that come in to help with that. Colleen talked about the clinical staff, the behavior analysts, who will put as much time as needed into creating the right plans, and we would not let it get to 49 or whatever you said, 49. Since that's not the time you do intervention.
And I know that on my street, there's a lot of young kids that their parents allow them to ride their bicycles and their scooters on the sidewalk. So they're not on the street, so that they're safe. They can ride all the way around the whole cul-de-sac up to the other end, ride back around, and they're safe. Who do I call when your facility is there and your people are parking and they got the parking on the sidewalk? Do I just call the police or do I call you guys? Give you a heads up first?
There is a supervisor, there will be a supervisor on site, but we're also gonna not have them park on.
We have a good neighbor policy
Yeah.
too, and so we do.
The bottom line is, what you're saying is that I might get myself in trouble for this. The caliber of person and people that may be at the other facility are not gonna be the caliber of people that will be at your facility, is what you're trying to tell them.
I have no idea what's over there. What I
Hospitals
do-
can't even
what I
get
do-
staff
what I
right
do-
now. I don't know where they think they're
What I
gonna
do
get.
know is that our staff are heavily trained. And our vacancy rate is 5%.
And I will say too, in Springfield, Illinois, we took over a facility there. We actually get a grant from the local police department now to continue providing the services that we provide there because they've seen a significant decrease in the amount of challenges, police calls, things like that that happen in that area. So the police are actually working hand in hand with us and helping fund some of the programs that we have there because they've seen such a turnaround with that particular facility.
Yeah, there were 2-3 calls a day, so now it just doesn't, that was before we took over. And now it's good done.
How many will be in that home?
Yeah. 4.
Are you gonna buy more properties in the area?
Not here.
So you're telling me you're buying a facility, a home that has 4 bedrooms, but you're gonna only have 4 patients there, 4 residents?
Right,
One for each bedroom.
We do across the board.
And so what is your charge? What are your monthly fees?
We don't charge people fees. They're medicated home and community-based service waiver.
So you don't take their social security disability check?
That goes, they get some, and that goes to pay some.
The state determines how much we get
I don't know.
by, and it depends on the individual.
So we
Or
don't.
their SSI checks, I
We
should say.
don't have
And that's, we don't have a choice on even that, the state that calculates that, and they, yeah, it's all predetermined. We
There's a
don't-
lady right behind you.
Do I stand up?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Tiana Mason. And actually, I work in the field. Yes, I advocated for the home that I live next to. I live on Battlefield, and I regret it. I totally regret it. It's not because of the resident, and I don't like to utilize the word those people because they are individuals with developmental disabilities. Everything that you're saying, it is. I wrote behavior programs. I've set up homes in St. Louis. I worked here in Swansea. And far as staffing, you have no control over staffing, zero. Okay, you can say however much, in all due respect, however much staffing is can destroy you. Okay, when you talk about support, okay, that's contingent on what type of behaviors those individuals have, whether or not they have physical aggression, elopement, so that is one-to-one. It is not true when staff want to leave, okay, they will leave. Those houses are short and undermanned, so you're understaffed as far as ratio. You're not gonna be always available, okay, when somebody calls. Parking, okay, and that's contingent on, you got 4 residents. So if you got 4 residents and they don't have any behaviors, it could be 2-to-1 ratio. If they have any other type of behavior as far as physical aggression or elopement or other concerns, that's 1-to-1. And that's contingent on how bad the behavior is, because I've seen it where I had 2 people on 1 resident. Okay, they also have activity staff. So activity staff, that staff comes in to help that individual who has physical aggression, because you are right. You cannot just keep them in the house. They have to go out in the community, but you need support for that, which once again, you cannot control staff, okay? As far as you all being available, that's not true. I mean, you got all these people, you got all these businesses coming in, and it's all due respect, because I am for individuals with developmental disabilities. I love them to death. That was my passion, but when you gotta live next door to them, and then so you hiring staff, and I'm hearing you training, okay, so you got 2 days of training to work with people who's 18, 20, 30 years old, who have taken a long time, and then you need more training than that.
That's
So,
not,
yeah,
that's not all the training, that's just that one. training.
well, it's just a
There's
quick,
120 hours.
well, and trust me, I know.
There's
Trust me, I know.
120 hours to get certified.
Okay, so then out of desperation, when you need staff who is not trained to work with individuals, or let's say not even trained, let's say dedicated to work with individuals with developmental disabilities, most of them are on their phones. Okay, I've worked in the field a long time. I fired a lot of people because they wasn't dedicated to the job. Okay, y'all not gonna be there. Okay, so it's poor oversight, and that's what has transpired, whether it's not for profit or profit. I've been in both of them. And if you don't have dedicated staff who's working there, okay, so then you said, so you have your staff that's there, the supervisor is not there 100% of the time. I was a supervisor for residential homes in St. Louis. There was no way. I put in 50 hours a week, okay, all salary. So I only got paid 40 hours. Okay, there's no way that that supervisor is there all the time. You talk about all these therapies, they're there, they're not there all the time. Who's there most of the time is your direct support staff. Okay, so then it's like this overlap, and however you all have y'all's hours, whether it's 8 and 12, if your relief don't come, then that person got an attitude. And then when they come into the neighborhood, and this is what I'm dealing with now. When they come into the neighborhood, they treat your neighborhood how they treat yours, how they treat theirs. And somewhere, I'm not gonna use the word, but some of it is not good. They drive down the street fast, leaving the trash out on the street, don't give a hoot about picking up no trash. It's total disregard. I done called the owner, and I know what you say, don't judge me based upon whatever, but if you're not living there, you cannot control what happens, okay? And then,
I have a Scylla right in my neighborhood.
well, that's good for you, but we cannot, I know. But we can't compare. I had some good houses too. Okay, people, and there are some good houses out there,
That's
but
what we're
it's
saying.
poor, but you're gambling. You're gambling.
Cameras out of your house, your husband's been at.
Yeah, so just, I know it's my time,
Got 30 seconds.
30 seconds, since the neighbor's been next door. I had somebody go out to my husband, one of the staff, okay, because he was parking on my lawn, and I'm very good in my yard. We had a fight that broke out, which went to the police department, and they fighting and going crazy. We done had the elopement, matter of fact, 2 months ago, where staff wasn't paying attention, management was not there. My husband had to go next door to tell him that the young lady got out. And then there's constant problems with trash and stuff. And it's so easy to have a good idea about something that you're not gonna be 100% involved in.
Very true.
Make sure you say your name before you talk.
Carrie Hunt, I'm the property owner, and so I just want to provide some information about property values, because obviously I am on the market and did a lot of research on that. There was a lot of comments on the Facebook post about how this is going to drive property values down. I just want to share that there was a home that recently sold on Fallowfield Drive. It was listed for $262,500. It took 46 days to close, and it sold for $259,750. There was a house on Acorn Way that was just recently built. It sold for $400,000. My house is selling for $384,000. It did not drive down any property values for the home that's currently on Fallowfield. I think the concern that you should have as residents is that now you have put that out on the internet, all over Facebook, about the dangers of these individuals that you don't even have in your neighborhood yet. And so now, when you go to put your house on the market, anybody who Googles Sylvan Vista Drive or Fallowfield is gonna come across those Facebook comments, and that's what's gonna drive down your property values. So I just wanted to share that information. Fallowfield didn't have any impact on my home. I worked for 3 years during COVID from home. I did not have any issues with any of the residents. My neighbors who live in between me who have had issues, I haven't had any. I walked every day in the middle of the day, didn't come across any of the residents. And in fact, the only time that I had somebody who walked into my home uninvited and unannounced was a neighbor's friends who were intoxicated and didn't know that they were in the wrong home while I had 2 small children asleep in my home. It's 2025. It's probably time that we lock our doors. That's all I'm going to say.
There are multiple studies that show that property values do not change or decrease with group homes.
Somebody, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Mary Elliott. I am an attorney for the Hunt family who's selling our home. And I just wanted to say, so we had a little bit of correspondence with the city attorney this week, whose name is Luke Bemin. I spent 11 years as city attorney for the city of Chicago. I spent 3.5 years as city attorney for the city of Dallas. So this is familiar to me, definitely. But, you know, he reminded us that that unfortunately the difficulty comes for you all is that the state regulates group homes, not municipalities, and that you're not a home rule community, so you don't have that authority to do it. And then also the Fair Housing Act and the Human Rights Act further restrict the ability of the city to regulate these group homes or to enact any codes that might be viewed as discriminatory. And so just a reminder that the city of Springfield just settled in 2022 years-long lawsuit with the Department of Justice and for a violation of the Fair Housing Act, and they settled for almost $300 million, and it took years to settle. I'm just pointing that all out there.
Who are you representing?
I represent the Hunt family, the sellers.
So you're just threatening us and we're supposed to roll over and play dead.
I'm not threatening anybody.
Of course you are.
By the way, my wife may be polite and not say who the neighbor was, whose friends broke into our house. Those were your 2 friends that broke into our house at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And
Intoxicated.
74-year-old, my brother who's elderly, I would like
I
it.
walked them over to your house after I threw them out of mine.
I have never had Trump friends in my life. We're all in our 70s.
Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, I'll subpoena that. You can bank on it.
What are you gonna subpoena?
You said you got it on video. Let's get it.
You want me to send it to you?
Oh, hell yeah.
Give me your number.
670-8159. Goss, G-O-S-S.
Say it again.
670-8159. I only hang around with old people. Why would you say it's me?
A lot of old drunks.
They're at Brewers, right?
They're all over the place.
Mike's request.
Can you move that way?
Yep.
Thank you. Back to the attorney.
Yeah.
You said you spoke to the city attorney recently, and can you reveal what that conversation was about or what his advice might have been?
Yeah.
He's not here tonight.
Yeah, and I think he apologized for that, but we were requesting some of the information from the city and he basically advised, I can read it to you directly. First, the meeting on July 3rd is a plan commission meeting wherein they will make a recommendation to the city council at the July.
For the taxes.
I have to ask your city.
Is it discriminatory to say that you're violating a covenant in an area? Does the state have power to do that? Does the state have power to take property? The only thing that separates us between a communist and an American is that we have the right to own property.
Yeah.
That's it.
And she has the right to sell her property.
I didn't say anything about it. All I said was the tax basis.
I agree with you.
That's all my issue.
Agreed, but you have to appreciate my clients that they are concerned that they're not able to freely sell their home to a potential buyer.
They can sell it to whom they are. The buyer is requesting a special use permit. That's our order. So they're wanting a license to operate a business.
They're wanting a conditional permit that would allow them in the zoning districts. And conditional permit says that you cannot discriminate against people that have disabilities. And that's exactly what this is.
That's the issue. That's the crux of the issue. Yeah.
Perhaps we ought to. During this meeting to a different time.
Well, there's no requirement that we take action.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we weren't given a lot of background information, so.
Without speaking to our attorney or having him here.
Yeah, and
I
I
don't generally
requested
feel
that.
comfortable making a decision one way or the other.
No, I don't want to open the city up to a potential lawsuit because we make a hasty decision or recommendation. So I think we need legal counsel on this to make sure that whichever way the decision goes, that it's fair and within the rule of law.
So, yeah, it's also about legal precedent. So if there's another home, which I'm not familiar with it, I wasn't on the planning commission when that was brought.
Yeah, I don't think
So,
any of us were.
All I got was special use permit for this. This home that was transferred title from one person to another. It's the person receiving the property that's making the request, not the seller. So to me, the seller's out. They're not a part of this decision. Unless they're requesting a special use permit. Are you requesting a special use permit?
No, but I'm
Okay.
here to make sure that the
So
city of
that's-
Lebanon doesn't impede the sale of my home.
I mean, okay, but you can do what you wish with the property. That's your business, not mine. I know of Envision. I'm favorable towards it. However, I'm only considering the facts of the request. So do we have a precedent for this type of business? And it is a business, whether it's nonprofit for profit, to operate in the city limits.
My understanding, special use is not transferable, right?
Right.
No.
Right.
Do they own the house now?
No.
So I could, who owns the house? Petition for special use and don't own it.
She doesn't have a special use permit or anything, so there wouldn't be no transfer of special use. The special use permit would be for them.
It's not transfer property.
Right.
Right, so we would just go to them, not to the seller.
Yeah, but they're selling the house. If we're.
No,
Oh.
they're selling the house, they're buying it. Yeah.
So Adam, I don't think you've said anything other than you were involved in a conversation, but you want to speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 minutes?
Yep.
I don't.
My timer's on.
I don't know if I have 5 minutes and I like to ramble too. I just want to come up here. I'm not opposed to what necessarily the group home is for. I think it's great. I think everybody deserves, a place to live. The problem I have is that, we already have one of these homes in our city and we can't hold anyone accountable for any actions that's happening there right now. Again, that's
not to say anything about his business. I know nothing about his business at all. I don't know if it's good, bad, whatever, or if the same would happen, worse, better, anything. It's just, we have one, and then we want to talk about safety. Safety is a big problem, right? We know what the current group home has, the problems it's causing for the residents in the subdivision now. May not happen with this, I can't say, but we can't hold them accountable for anything. Police report after police report, can't do anything. We want to talk about property values. I agree. I've read the same research. Property values, group homes probably don't go down. But now if we're going to create clusters of group homes in a community, I think that that's a different type of report, right? You know, if you have 5, 6, 7, 8 of these that pop up in our subdivision, property values are probably going to go down. If you have one, they take care of it, no problems. I agree with the report. Probably not going to have an impact on it. But just, you know, this, to be as completely clear as I can possibly be, is not about discrimination. And I think any opposition that you're going to get to approving this is going to fall on the side of discrimination. And that's not what this is about. So I want to be very clear that this is in no way, from my perspective, me up here talking about being anything discriminatory about individuals with disabilities or anything like that. I've got family members who have disabilities, and they all have homes to live in, whatever. But it's being able to maintain. Right now, we're talking about a business plan that's purely speculative. We don't know anything about the residents that are coming in here. We don't know anything about the staff that's coming in here. We don't know anything about it at all. I don't know how we can make a decision simply based on that. We've got to be smarter. We've got to be better. We've got to understand that we can hold folks accountable. And that's really all I've got. So, unfortunately, I was in a home where we had a member from the existing group home come in and break in. So I've lived it. I've also seen an individual do it 3 other times firsthand this year alone. So it's not just a simple thing, and we can come up here and I'm sure they've got great homes. I'm sure they have model homes in other communities that have no problems at all. And maybe this one here in Lebanon will be one of those. And if that's what we get, then that's what we get. That's great. But if we get anything like what we've already got right now, I don't know. That's it.
Okay, my name's Abby. I live on Sylvan Vista, 3 houses from the Hunts. No concerns with them whatsoever. I probably won't be living there much longer, to be honest. My house will be on the market, and I will say this is a big reason as to why. I have 3 small children. And while my job is not to compare your company to the old one, I have at least 14 reports with that old one that have been very concerning to me. I do want to go back to whatever the attorney said earlier, just in terms of all the legal things. I'm a speech therapist. I don't know anything about law. But we do have a neighboring town who had multiple facilities, group homes in their neighborhood, and they just recently turned down another one. So that's more to the council, just to know, like, there are things other than just whatever somebody said earlier, like to scare us. However, this meeting seemed to be very, very short notice. Like, I wish I wasn't here at 7:40 on a holiday weekend. Had I had more time, I would have gotten that information from them to kind of give to you guys. Property value, I have to go back to that because I met with my realtor on Monday. And while my house is not yet on the market, it is going to soon be. And again, he is a real estate agent and I am a speech therapist, and he mentioned property value when I brought up my concerns. The last one I'm gonna save, I was hoping somebody else would do it for me because I'm not really a person to give ratings and to discuss those things. But I also want to talk about the manpower when a situation like that arises. So again, I've called the cops 3-4 times. And I know that another family in the building has as well, and nothing against them. My mother has always worked with the law enforcement, especially in our town. But the first time while somebody was trying to get into my home, it took 26 minutes for a response. Very concerning. And I'm sure they were busy. I don't want to discredit that in any fashion. But we kind of go back to manpower. Okay, your professionals in your home cannot handle whatever is happening. I have to call the people over the city, and that didn't help either. And I won't speak for the other family.
And my last thing is really just, again, not to compare the other facility to yours, but I'm a big ratings person and I really do kind of look at like what the feedback is from other people. And I do know that this is the right facility because, sir, your picture is on the page. And so I, nothing against them, just saying like the comments on here are terrible pay, terrible benefits, no formal training. Pay could be a lot better, terrible work environment, poor management, hostile work environment. So that just takes me back to, it all starts there and with the people who are going to run this place. If their heart is not in it, and believe me, I work with disabilities every day of my life, Monday through Friday, so I get it. Then that's kind of where we see everything transpire and it goes downhill. And then I have people trying to get into my house and I have people harming my children and destroying my car and just on and on and on. So really, again, I don't have much of a bone in this fight because I won't be here much longer, so my tax dollars are leaving. But I just wanted to mention, no.
But just to not make light of these instances, the first time this happened, I didn't know the home existed. Someone was breaking into my house at 3 in the morning. I almost killed her. And then it's continued to happen double-digit times since. 3 more times at my own house. So.
And we can't hold
That's why
them
it's not
accountable.
serious. And
That's-
nothing is happening.
And it's not discrimination, it's safety.
That's not an option either. No, you cannot sue. I can speak on that.
Okay.
So I was asked if I wanted to press charges and I said, absolutely not. Why would I want to press charges against somebody who's disabled? Like that doesn't make sense to me. I have called the state of Illinois. I have called IDPH. I have called, I wish I had this written down, probably 7 other avenues and they don't care. And I think I can say that confidently because I've gotten no response. I've gotten no response from the PD, to be honest. IDPH, I have certifications for work through them and like just no response in that. So I've tried because my heart is with these people more than any of you probably know, as I do this Monday through Friday, but that's just my experience.
But you can sue the company.
Yes,
So you can sue the company.
We told the company the first time it happened, I almost killed her and they laughed.
she laughed at me, yeah.
Well, yeah, you can sue the
She
company.
just wants to play.
Yeah.
And it's true, pay is low.
Because I had to wait for my.
We're
marriage.
actually,
Just wanted to-
we're gonna be paying close to $20, right around $20 an hour for direct service, which is a huge improvement over what's going on in the hospital. And that's why our vacancy rate is down so.
And I know that there are some negative ratings, but we have over 1,000 employees and over the years, don't you think somebody who's.
I
let
worked
go
for
is
2
gonna
different
leave?
MHM,
People are
3%.
gonna write reviews.
And I do know when you're in group home, the employees are not paid all that well, and if no one shows up, there's somebody having to work a double shift. If they will, if they want, they can leave.
They cannot
Cannot
leave.
They get reported to the state.
Well, there's also reviews on the website that we were looking at. And out of 88 of them, there was a huge gross mention of the injuries that patients have occurred, because of this lack of staffing or observations or interventions or yeah.
What is your turnover rate?
Turnover rate for direct service staff is over a year.
You don't even know.
I know, you gotta keep track. I do. Keep track.
Extremely low.
Not here, you just hold it.
Our turnover rate, I don't know the exact numbers, but our turnover rate is consistently lower than other organizations because we pay higher wages. But, we're a not-for-profit, so when we do have extra cash at the end of the year, it goes back to the employees. So we put
Well,
into.
curious, when the president of the company, what are they paying?
We're not going down that road. You can go down. That, of course, is the advantage. I want to address.
We don't have the answer.
No.
The advantage.
Okay, is there any other comments here before,
I just want to provide some data. I did ask for a FOIA report from the police department. Chief Rob provided it to me because I was obviously wanted to bring this information to this meeting. I want to preface this that this is just police report. It's not police call. So there could be more police calls. They weren't able to pull that data for me. But from September of 2018 to May of 2025, so that's 7 years, there have been 22 police reports. That averages to be about less than 3 in a given year. The majority of these are issues inside the residence or missing persons, non-violent missing person reports of these residents. So though I do understand that it can be frustrating, I wanted to provide the data and the facts that the generalizations of all these hundreds of calls that are being done on this facility doesn't match the report that Chief Rock provided. Yeah.
I mean, look at this year, the lady, and again, this is nothing to do with them or the residents that are gonna live there, because it's all speculative at this point. But if we wanna talk about the residents that's there on Fallowfield right now, the lady was in a house that I was at. And this is this year, this is 3 reports of her being in the house, and one of them is not on that report just recently. And she actually went into a house, broke into it, climbed out the window, cut herself, and had to get an EMS to take her to the hospital. So we can skew numbers however we want to do it, that's fine. Again, I have no idea what is coming. I can't compare it to that. So it's kind of awesome. It's just saying.
Carl, you had your hand up.
I just two comments or one's a question. I echo your statement. We are losing tax revenue to not just the school district, fire district, library district, all taxing bodies because they're gonna take on the tax roll. But can you clarify the lady behind, when you were talking about the 4 residents, there's only gonna be 4. You made the comment, we're gonna do occupancy. So if St. Clair County comes in and grants you 8, are we looking at 8?
No, all of our new homes.
It contradicts.
Well, but legally, they are allowed to have that 8 if they choose to. Now, their stipulations say 4.
So is it in writing no more than 4? Or could it balloon to 8? Because the county says.
The state says it could be 8, but.
But you're saying tonight 4. Can
I
we
am.
take you at your word?
I am.
Or is it gonna be in writing?
No, every home that we have opened in the last, 3-4 years or so, has only been 4 people or less. And the
In the
reason,
past,
the
but going
reason,
forward, it could change.
the reason for that is because you get a much better quality home and environment.
So is it in writing?
In writing where?
Is it a part
In
of
the special use permit that you're asking the city to grant you a group home, taking it off the tax
Oh,
rolls,
I see.
making it a multi-resident facility, is the 4 residents going to be stated? Or are we
I
going to
actually
be
don't know
looking
if it's
at
on
a
there.
year from now, 8?
I'm not
Special
sure.
permit.
I'm actually not sure if it's on there or not.
But your own staff contradicts, so I don't believe it tonight.
No.
That could
I
be
didn't-
reasonable, that could be a reasonable way.
It is.
Again, I oppose the group home for every reason stated tonight, mainly the property tax.
I move that we table this for expanded discussion from all members of the community. Since we are a public entity. And that,
We're not done.
I know that, but we may be done tonight.
We can have discussion
What,
after.
I move that we keep it open for discussion for members of the community during scheduled time periods. So we don't have to call a special meeting, for further discussion, because everybody wants to speak.
Well, and we need a more suitable venue.
Right, this is not suitable for that.
I'm still waiting for my 5 minutes. No offense, Jack.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
understand.
A bunch of us came here for a reason to be heard. If you guys don't have enough time to stay here, get somebody that's got enough time to spend.
Well,
Okay, I got 5 minutes. That's all I want.
All right, go ahead. Ron, give us what you got, 5 minutes.
Okay, my wife and I moved to Knoll, 5 years ago? One of the main reasons we moved there was because of the rules and regulations and the subdivision. Unfortunately, this crashes that.
Yep.
I got a problem with that. The current group home that was there, their special use permit expired several years ago. They never renewed it. I don't know what they're gonna do about that. It's slipping through the cracks, I was told. As far as the people that you deal with, God, I hate it. Every one of us here either has somebody or knows somebody that is in this kind of shape. It has its problems. One of the big problems is, especially with the current place, which is not you guys, I understand. I'm worried about their health and safety. These people are not safe. They plan waiting for racetrack. Somebody walks across that street, they're gonna get killed. Somebody made a comment here, and I've heard this from several people. Somebody breaks into my house, God help them. We don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. I gotta sleep at night. I don't wanna be put in that position. Trying to think what else. The covenant. Can't have a business. The business. It's not for profit, it's a business.
It is not business, it's home for people. This is gonna establish the law.
It's an Airbnb.
But this is for federal and state law. It really is.
Okay, so let me make a point. I've read the ADA laws. I cannot discriminate to anybody that's disabled. Your corporation is not disabled. Yeah, we're dealing with a corporation. We're not dealing with individuals. I realize I'm cutting hairs here, but I do remember a little bit from business law back in college. Anybody can argue this either way. That's not necessarily a hold up. We need places like this. The other question I have to the planning commission, Brent, how many of these we're gonna have before it's tonight?
Are we gonna ask for an ordinance to limit them?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I move that we vote it's on the floor.
are you seconding his motion?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that, we're not closing out discussion on this. We're closing it out for tonight. All right, it is not, if you haven't been heard, you'll still get a chance to be heard. We'll have to figure out the logistics of that. We've got some meeting to do with some other folks, city attorney probably, but, you know, this is our regular scheduled meeting. We went ahead with it. And I think someone spoke about the last minute. It has to be advertised not more than, I think it has to be at least 15 days and not more than 30 days before you're gonna have the meeting. But we got our information over the weekend. So I got it out when you got it.
Can I ask a quick question, please?
Okay.
We're getting ready to close. They have economics at risk, we have economics at risk if that doesn't happen. Meaning economic damages.
I can't answer that. I mean, here's what our normal process would be. We would go to the council meeting in a couple weeks with a recommendation. They would either approve it or disapprove it or table it or whatever they wanted to do. And I don't really have any control over anything else. I don't think we have. I don't think I sense we got a motion in a second. I sense we're not ready to make a decision.
We need more information. I hear the community. I would stay here all night with you to listen. I really would. It's not about that. That isn't the issue. The issue at hand is I need more information about the previous existing group home. Where is its special use permission to operate as a reference point? Because I use reference points of what is set in precedent. I realize that state has its own laws. I get all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm a layman. All right. So I just want to be informed. I think the public has a right to speak, if I'm not mistaken, and to be heard. So I want to make sure that that's done in a way that is orderly, so we can hear everybody without all the other comments and weigh everything appropriately according to law. I think that would be appropriate, and we don't have that.
And to be fair, I think we also need to investigate this Illinois group home clustering law. There's actually statute that's mentioned where the distance is typically 1,000 to 1,320 feet, which they say is about 4 blocks. So that other facility is only 1 block from us.
Yeah, and those are some of again, the legal thing, we're not qualified to answer.
Noted on your website, as a matter of fact.
That's not us, so that's the reason for that, and I just think we need.
And we need to improve our town and get more people to come.
Sure.
It's not going.
All right, so, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion to table the issue?
We'd have to go to the council of the Northwest.
We would.
All in favor of the motion?
Alright.
All opposed? Motion carries.
It's tabled.
So we will need to, come up with the logistics of this.
Yeah.
Monday. We've all got jobs.
We need to
You're
get-
gonna have to make the same proposal to the council in 14 days. Something before then.
Thanks, everyone, for the comments and interest.
I move we adjourn meeting.
Yeah.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Here's, I didn't even, I mean.
Just.
Oh.